Time will bring the real end of our trial. One day there'll be no remnants, no trace, no residual of feelings within you. One day you won't remember me. Your face will be the reason I smile, but I will not see
you listening to this podcast. I am here with a few members of the Section 8 program, and they are here to tell us their amazing stories in dealing with the Section 8 housing program. Section 8 is an agency that allows the government to provide housing to low-income families, the elderly, and disabled people that need assistance. They can choose any housing wanted as long as the landlord agrees to the Section 8 payment terms.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began.
Yes, his name is Mr. Matthew James. He's here to explain to us how he and his wife and son went through tough and terrible times and needed Section 8 to fall back on. Mr. James.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Matthew James. I am an African-American man, and I am 41 years old. I have a wife named Kelly James and a child named Stephen James. Like a while back, once upon a time, we were a very happy and wealthy family. And my wife my wife, she's the breadwinner. No jokes. I brought in some money too, but it wasn't nearly as much as her. One day she had a stroke, and that's when everything started to downfall. Her stroke was a serious one and placed her in a wheelchair. We had to pay for her therapy and medical expenses from our bank account. That was very expensive, and we ended up having to move out of our house, because we were evicted by the bank. We had to move into a small apartment, but my income wasn't even enough to pay for that, and so I needed to get some help. I looked up and called a lot of companies, but they were not helpful at all to us. Then I heard about a Section 8 program in the public housing from one of my coworkers. So I went and applied at a few of the public housing agencies. There was a waiting list, but we eventually ended up getting approved. They sent me a list of locations where my voucher could be used. This started the process to find an apartment that the owner would agree on the Section 8 terms. It didn't take as long as I had originally predicted, but we found a wheelchair-accessible apartment for cheap. And all Section 8 housing really, really helped my family with the things they needed. I really believe that if it wasn't for Section 8, then my family and I would have probably fell into poverty. And I strongly prefer anyone in our situation or any situation like ours to take part and be a part of the Section 8 housing. Thank you guys for having me.
Love in mysterious ways, maybe just the touch of a hand. Well, me, I fall in love with you every single day, and I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now take me into your loving arms.
This next guest is a woman who, although she did not firsthand experience the Section 8 program, someone she loved and who was very close to did, and so she's here to share their story. Miss?
Hello, my name is Carmen Hernandez. I am an elderly Hispanic woman. I'm the grandparent of family involved in the Section 8 housing program. My son Carlos lives with his two children, Maria and Jesus Hernandez. Maria is 7 years old, and Jesus is 9 years old. Their mother, Helen, lived with them for a while, then ran away because she was terrible and didn't want the responsibility of, being a mother and a wife. Before she ran away, she emptied their bank account and left Carlos with nothing, and left her children with nothing also. This situation forced foreclosure on the home, resulting in them being evicted. The only thing I was able to do was open my home to them for a while because I am retired and I could not care for them with just my income. I informed my son about Section 8 housing, the housing program, and how he could benefit from it and how his children could too. He applied at a few public housing agencies and got accepted into a few, but he picked one. Soon after that, they moved into a nice apartment building with a nice landlord and lady, and they love it there. Without this company, my family would have been on the street and we would have been completely poor. For that, I'm forever thankful.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I think I'll remember you said. Sometimes it lasts and loves, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts and loves.
So far, our guests have been very interesting and have shared their lovely and personal stories with us. Our last guest for tonight, is a woman named Katalea, who has had a terrible, tough time, and she lost her fiance, and her and her 3 kids had to go through tough times to find out what they needed to do, which ultimately resulted in them joining the Section 8 program as well. Katalea?
Hi, my name is Katalea Madison. Before I tell my story, I would like to sing this song that I've been working on for a little bit. It's not completely finished, but here it goes. Time has changed, you are good. It's hard to say that I moved on. Empty hearts turn to empty homes. We're still alone, we're on our own.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much. So my story, it's kind of hard to talk about it, but I don't know where I would be without this program. You know, people think that just because I'm white, I can get and afford whatever I need and want. I was born into a family that was not rich, and my mom was on drugs, my father was in prison, but I chose to make something of myself and get into school. It all changed at 19 though. Now I'm 35 with 3 children. I have 1 boy and 2 girls. My son is 16. My 2 daughters are 8 and 5. My fiance died in 2010. He was never able to see our last girl, Kendall. He was 40 years old. My son's name is Kyle, and my oldest girl's name is Kylie. My fiance worked as a construction worker, so he made a decent living, a decent income to support us. We were supposed to get married while I was pregnant with Kendall, but he died in a car crash. He also had a son, and he was 18 years old. Since my fiance and I weren't married before he died, I was not entitled to any of his money. I was not written in his will either because, we never expected him to, die. All of his belongings and money went to his son. His son turned 18 2 months after he died, and it allowed him to get his money. We had children together, so they were able to get money from him also. That money, it only lasted us for about 3 years because it was less than I expected. We moved to River Forest 2 years before my fiance passed. Now we have to move to Oak Park because River Forest is just way too expensive. Luckily, some of the apartments on Austin took Section 8. They come and inspect us every once in a while, but I've always told my children to keep up with the house. It's not that bad when they come. My kids are good kids. People say that Section 8 is typically for black people, and obviously it can't be just for black people if I'm on it. People say that it's typical for black people who just don't want to work. I am a Caucasian single mom, and I am proof that Section 8 can not just be put for one race. and try to make a better life so I can support my children and my stepson, even though he lives with his mother. Section 8 has dramatically helped me. I am currently working, and so is my son. We work together to support our family. Section 8 is not a bad thing at all. It really helped me get off my feet. It kept my children and I off the streets when we ran out of money to survive. Now we have a house that we can make into a home. Thank you for having me.
These stories and everything were beautiful today. Thank all of you guys. I thank all of you guys for just coming in and sharing your stories with us, your emotional and exciting, happy, sad, wonderful stories with us. Just to define what Section 8 is. Section 8 housing is a source and a program that provides housing to low-income families, the elderly, and disabled people. The participant can choose any housing. It's not limited to housing projects. However, the participant or family must make sure that the landlord agrees to the Section 8 terms. This means that the way the paying will go, which means that the family has to pay a certain amount and that the government would be the one to pay the rest. So as long as your landlord agrees on that, then, you're in. But if you feel that any of these stories or situations are like yours and you want to apply for the Section 8 housing company, just locate your local PHA, public housing agency, and sign up. There might be a waiting list, but if it's anything like the ones we heard today, you'll definitely get accepted. Thank you, guys.
First, let me hop out the motherfucking Porsche. I don't wanna hit that hurt. Don't see like a horse. I be ballin' on this. Got me feeling like sports. Yeah, it's got so much wood, I could build me a fort. Ain't too many things I ain't done yet. I'm the king of this shit. Ground by the toilet. I'm just ready to get it started. You already upset. Got a tiger as a pet. I just took him to the